Good afternoon and welcome to this presentation of Major League Baseball on the Coliseum Sports Network. Today, we continue the Coliseum Baseball Tournament with interleague action between the 3rd seed and the 6th seed out of the Eastern Regional Pool. It will be the Washington Nationals taking on the Chicago White Sox. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Raymond Sims here with the Coliseum pregame show. So happy for you to join us on a beautiful Thursday afternoon, wherever you are in this country. I know today is a particularly special day in Major League Baseball. It is the trade deadline, the non-waiver trade deadline, that is. So a lot of moving pieces are going to be happening as the games are going on. Probably won't be able to give you the most up-to-date. You'll probably have to rely on Ken Rosenthal or John Paul Morosi for those types of things. But I'll be sure that if any trades come down the wire, I'll be sure to get them to you. There are some that will be affecting tournament teams moving forward. We have the big one this morning that started everything off being John Lester and Johnny Gomes going from Boston to Oakland for Yoenis Cespedes. So a shame we won't be able to see the two-time defending home run derby champion in this tournament anymore. But John Lester and Johnny Gomes, and then Sam Fuld coming over from Minnesota for Tommy Milone. They'll have a shored-up pitching staff and a platooning left field. So we'll see how that will affect Oakland in this tournament. They already lost their first game against Houston 4-3 in 10 innings. The game today is the White Sox and the Nationals, where it will be a pitching matchup for the ages for sure. Definitely the first big one in this entire tournament. It will be Chris Sale on the mound for the White Sox and Steven Strasburg on the mound for the Nationals. Let's take a look at the lineup right now. For the White Sox, it will be center fielder Adam Eaton leading off. That'll be followed by Alexei Ramirez at shortstop. Jose Abreu at first will be batting third. Dayan Viciedo will be playing left field and batting fourth. Connor Gillespie will be batting fifth and playing third. Gordon Beckham will play second and bat sixth. Alejandro Diaza will play right field and bat seventh. Tyler Flowers will play catcher and bat eighth. And then Chris Sale, the starting pitcher in this NL Park, will bat ninth. For the Washington Nationals, who are hosting, it will be Denard Span in center batting first. Anthony Rendon will be playing third for Ryan Zimmerman, who's been hurt for a little bit. He'll bat second. Jason Worth will play right field and bat third. Adam LaRoche will be manning first and batting fourth. Ian Desmond will play shortstop and bat fifth. Bryce Harper will play left field and bat sixth. Wilson Ramos in that platooning catcher position with Jose Lobaton. Ramos will be getting the start and batting seventh. Danny Espinoza will play second and bat eighth. And then Steven Strasburg is your starting pitcher for Washington and will bat ninth. So it's sure to be a beautiful day here in the nation's capital. Very shortly, it is Coliseum Baseball Tournament action on the Coliseum Sports Network. Afternoon, a beautiful warm day in the nation's capital, and it's time for some more MLB Sports Network as the 3-6 matchup between the Nationals about to be underway. Once again, I'm Raymond Sims here to call the balls and strikes for you. Definitely going to be a very good game. Two of the best pitchers in baseball facing off against each other on what is definitely a hectic day around the league. We'll see if these players can keep their cool and move on to get the win to move into the winner's bracket. Here's a look at the White Sox lineup. Already went over it in the pregame show, but just to remind you, it'll be Adam Eaton leading off, Alexei Ramirez playing second, and Jose Abreu batting third. For Washington, as I said before, Stephen Strasburg, the ace he is, comes in with a 7-9 record, but a 3.55 ERA, 167 strikeouts. Just the first game here of a doubleheader, two-a-days for much of the rest of the way in this tournament. The championship will be set to go in mid-August, but right now we just got to get out of the first round as we are halfway there. Here's Adam Eaton to lead things off with Stephen Strasburg ready to throw. The first pitch is low in the dirt, a four-seamer for a ball, and that's how we'll get started in D.C. One-0 pitch, hit straight to Desmond, and an easy 6-3 put out, and Eaton is the first out of the game. And so with that wonderful defense, let's take a look at the defensive lineup presented by Majestic. They'll be having Stephen Strasburg's back in this pitcher's duel. Next batter up, Alexei Ramirez. He's had a heck of a season so far. Made his first the reserve. First pitch he takes from Strasburg is inside with a two-seam. White Sox come into this game 52 and 56, good enough for fourth in what has been a tight American League Central so far this season. Here's the 1-0 from Strasburg. Four-seamer low and away, good enough for a strike. Sellers here at the trade deadline, a lot of trade talks going on. You got Gordon Beckham, who seems to be in it yearly. As Ramirez fouls off the 1-1. John Danks and Adam Dunn also in some discussions, but not as heavy as a lot of the other players that have been talked about leading up to this very day. 1-2 to Ramirez. He hits this one right down the line. Bases as it rounds up in the corner. Harper picks it up off the bounce, and Ramirez is in with a one-out double. Pardon me. So Ramirez gets on and is already in scoring position. Not much of a surprise when you look at his numbers so far this season. 281 batting average coming in. And tasked with possibly bringing him in is the Cuban prospect Jose Abreu. Probably past prospect stage at this point. He hits this one on the first pitch, gets right past Strasburg, rolls into center. Should be enough room for Ramirez at the plate. It is. And it's an RBI single for Jose Abreu. And right off the bat, the White Sox get to work on scoring runs against the mighty Stephen Strasburg. Look at this on replay here. Strasburg did what he could to pick it up, but it pretty much was a rocket. And that gave Ramirez enough time to come home, even though it was almost a bit of a close call. And so with the RBI single, it's now 1-0 White Sox. And here's Diane Bucieto to see if he can do anything with advancing Abreu along the base pass. He hits on the first pitch. This one gets to Espinoza, and the 4-6-3 double play is incomplete as Desmond overthrows LaRoche by a mile. Take a look at this on replay. It looked like a good old-fashioned 4-6-3er, but Desmond just a little too excited. That ball will find itself in the Nationals' dugout. So here is the Omahan, Connor Gillespie. 1 out, 2 men on here. Gillespie, who's going to be batting left-handed as he usually does, always does. We'll see if he can bat in some runs. Just to confirm, that was an error on Desmond, so E6. And this one hit straight to Espinoza, and that play a little easier done. So that will be 2 outs. but that'll be 3 outs, pardon, off of the double play. So 1-0, and the Nationals will get their first chances at the plate. Washington off to a shaky start, but we'll see how they do on offense here. Here's a look at Matt Williams' starting lineup. As we went over in the pregame show, Denard Span will lead off, Anthony Rendon will follow him, and then Jason Worth will bat third. Here is Chris Sale, the lefty. He's had a heck of a season. 10-1 on the year, 1.88 ERA, and 122 strikeouts. Just unbelievable, and we'll see if that can lead the White Sox into the winner's bracket. And as the defensive lineup throws the ball around for the last time, here's a look at that lineup presented by Majestic. So get things going here. Is Denard Span. 11 triples last season. Denard Span has been great in the leadoff spot. He's tied for 8 in the majors with doubles, and this swing pops up in the air and it's caught by Beckham for out number 1. So both teams swinging early against these tough pitchers. We'll see if that strategy works moving on, but for the Nationals so far, only 1 out. So here's Anthony Rendon. As I said before, starting at third base as he has been in place of Ryan Zimmerman. Usually find him in the second base position. Filling in on the other side, takes a strike from Sale to start off his at-bat. 1 out, none on. Bottom of the first. White Sox got on the board off the RBI single by Jose Abreu. 4-seamer, low and in. Another 4-seamer, this one at the knees, and just by being patient, Rendon finds himself ahead in the count. And Rendon fouls that one off. Speaking of all-stars here, as I will be throughout this game, Rendon was a part of the NL All-Star final vote. However, he eventually lost out to Anthony Rizzo of the Cubs. But make no mistake, there was a huge push from D.C. and around the country for Rendon to make his first ever All-Star game. Here comes the 2-2. Rendon swings on this one. Rounded up by Beckham, and another put out at the hands of Gordon Beckham. So Span pops up to him. Rendon hits to him for a ground out. And now here's Jason Worth stepping up to the plate for the first time today with 2 outs and no one on. Breaking ball drops in. Worth had an eye on it, but it fouls directly back. 0-1 count. Two-seamer up and outside. 1 ball, 1 strike now for Jason Worth. And this one inside jams Worth for strike 2. One-two count to Worth. Swings on that one, has to complete the strikeout, does Flowers, and that's 3 up, 3 down. So the Nationals cannot respond, but we'll see if they can keep the White Sox from scoring some more runs. Chicago ahead, 1-0. Welcome back to the nation's capital, and after making a putout and an assist on a putout, here is the second baseman, Gordon Beckham. Four-seamer high up there, mid-90s for ball one. White Sox were able to get a couple of hits off of Strasburg in the top of the first. See what the White Sox can do here. Beckham will take another four-seamer outside for ball two. Double by Ramirez, a RBI single by Abreu that put the one run on the board for either team, and then Viciedo got two bases out of an error by Ian Desmond. Changeup drops into the zone. 2 balls and 1 strike. Two-seamer to tie up the count. 2 balls, 2 strikes. As I brought up in the beginning of the game, Gordon Beckham, one of the few names being brought up at the trade deadline for the White Sox. Beckham will hit this one to fellow second baseman Espinoza. Will be out number 1 for the inning. And here is a replay of that last out. Strasburg has always been a beast. Just got to enjoy the motion when he delivers to the plate. See if that same delivery can sit down Alejandro De Aza. First pitch to the right fielder. A curveball dropping in there for strike 1. Alejandro De Aza has been a starter for the White Sox for a number of years. Let's take a pitch inside. This year he may have been forced into a platoon role, as the White Sox were hoping Garcia a bigger part of the team's plan moving forward. Unfortunately, Garcia hurt himself at the beginning of the season. He has not played since, but thank goodness for De Aza, as he has jumped back into the regular starter role and has done admirably in that position. Change up in the dirt, 1 ball, 2 strikes here to Alejandro. Avasale, in the meantime, is about to start a rehab program. Another curveball finds the dirt. White Sox are mum on whether or not Garcia will come back in time for the season, but until then, it's De Aza manning right field. He'll hit one directly to right field for out number 2. Take a look at this here on replay. After giving up a run in the first inning, Strasburg has done a good job at getting these guys out. White Sox hitters have been wise not to chase a lot of the pitches Strasburg is throwing outside. But when Strasburg knows it's time to throw strikes, he puts them in and he gets guys out. Here's the first pitch here to the catcher, Tyler Flowers. This one fouled off down the first base line. Curveball finds the glove, but in the dirt. 1 ball, 2 strikes to Tyler Flowers. And he reaches on a slider, and that's pretty much the first time that Strasburg has made a White Sox hitter look silly, but it comes at the right time for out number 3. That is strikeout number 1 for Strasburg. We'll see how many more he has, but now it's time for the Nationals to come up to the plate. 1-0 Chicago. After a 3-up, 3-down first for the Nationals, Adam LaRoche will start things off here in their half of the second. Let's see if they can tie things up. They're behind at home, 1-0. First pitch, Sale puts in a four-seam. Switches up with a breaking ball there. 1 ball, 1 strike. Chris Sale, himself an all-star, but he had to get in through the final vote. Was able to win that going away. Swing and a miss by LaRoche. There was a little noise for Corey Kluber of the Indians, who definitely would have been just deserving of the spot, along with the other 3 who were in it for the AL final vote. But in the end, it was Chris Sale getting the nod from fans around the country. Why wouldn't he? Second in baseball with a 1.88 ERA in 16 appearances, all starts. Two-seamer inside will tie up the count here to Adam LaRoche. LaRoche puts this one in play, drops into left field, and he will be on with a base hit, the first for the Nationals in this game. Look at it again here. LaRoche very patient, very upright with his stance, able to hit this one opposite field. Here comes the shortstop, Ian Desmond. Definitely one of the premier shortstops in baseball. Came into the league 10 years ago with this very organization, but back when they were the Montreal Expos. It's been 5 years in the system. Definitely a homegrown talent if there's any such thing. Debuted in 2009 and has not looked back since. He's played the most games this season, has Desmond, of anybody else in the starting lineup. 250 on the year with 17 home runs. Here's the 1-0 to Desmond, and he hits this one up in the air, playable by Diaza. He is under it, and LaRoche will retreat back to first for out number 1. Here is Bryce Harper coming into the game. First time. First pitch, a changeup. Definitely one of the key at-bats to look at in this game, where you have an up-and-coming star like Bryce Harper facing off against another up-and-coming star in Chris Sale. A breaking ball in there for strike 1. Perhaps maybe not the one that the casual fan will exactly look at, but it's not necessarily exclusive to the diehards to be excited about this one either. 1-1 in there on the four-seamer, 2 balls and 1 strike. Bryce Harper's only played 46 games in 2014. 3 home runs, 13 RBIs to his name. He came into the season late, coming off of injury. But now that he's been in the lineup for a while, he is ready to go. He's been patient with this at-bat. Chris Sale has been playing chess with him. He finds himself behind 3-1. Gonna need a strike on this one. And he'll find it. Full count here. Chris Sale taking on Bryce Harper. Adam LaRoche on first with 1 out here in the bottom of the second. Nationals trying to get on the board. Harper could be just the guy to help them. Here's the payoff pitch. It's this one down the line. Second edition of the 3-2. Check swing, appeal. He did not go, says the third base ump. And Harper is on with a walk. Let's take a look at this on show motion. Do you think he went around? Let us know in the comments on the live chat or in the comments on the archive. But all the same, it's now 2 on with 1 out for the catcher, Wilson Ramos. "46 games for Wilson Ramos this season. Three home runs like Harper, but 10 more RBIs than Harper. Same amount of games, also batting almost 30 percentage points better. And Ramos puts this one in play, gets back past the glove of Beckham, and LaRoche will move to third, Harper will move to second, and Ramos is on with a single that couldn't quite bring a national home, but the Nats are knocking on the door, and we have 1 out here in the bottom of the second. So last position player up to the plate in this lineup, Danny Espinosa. Will he be the one to bat in the run to tie this game up early? Heck, if he puts one in a good enough spot, he could bring more than 1 run home. It's going to be 1 swing at a time. He's behind 0-1 off the foul. We'll take a 4-seamer here, so the count tied back up 1-1. Here's the 1-1. Change-up drops in there. 2 balls and 1 strike. Nationals fans getting excited as the man with the sub-2 ERA seems to be struggling here in the bottom of the second. Can he keep his cool? Can the Nationals get a rally going? Bases loaded. Espinosa hits this one high in the air. Left field still carrying, and it will drop at the warning track. That's LaRoche at least. And it looks like it'll be 2 runs, a 2 RBI double by Danny Espinosa. And just like that, the Nationals get the lead back. And the crowd more than pleased. Espinosa waited for just the right pitch. He puts it in the right spot up against the wall. Would have been unbelievable if it was a grand slam. But I'm sure that the Nats will take it as is. So now we get to the pitcher here, playing in this NL Park. It's Steven Strasburg. He's going to look to see if he can bring somebody home himself. He only has 1 RBI coming into this tournament. So we'll see if he can get 1 RBI in the first game of the tournament for the Nationals. Pitcher versus pitcher. Here's the first one from Sale. 4-seamer inside for ball 1. Espinosa's on second. Ramos at third. Harper and LaRoche had come home on the double. Ooh, swing and a miss by Strasburg. Sale definitely hoping that this will be out number 2. Because if Strasburg finds himself on base, it does not get easier when you have Span and Rendon due up. The 1-1. Ooh, too high. Surprised they didn't get past the glove of Flowers. It doesn't, but it's still a 2-1 count. On the change-up drops, but he doesn't fool Strasburg. We've seen that before come out of his hands. So he's now ahead 3 balls in 1 strike. Sale gets Strasburg to swing and miss and run the count full. Strasburg 21 strikeouts at the plate this season. And he'll put this one in play. And this will roll into center field. It is an RBI single by the pitcher. And it's now 3-1 in favor of the Nationals. Strasburg gets this one past Sale. And it just rolls into center field for Eaton to pick up as a run comes home. So we will restart the lineup. It's Denard Span, the center fielder. He's going to look to keep things going. Nationals already have a good groove as it is now 3-1. Interesting scoring decision here as you see on the graphic, an E1. So Sale, according to the official score, should have been able to make that play if the ball was coming to him. First pitch he throws. The ball, 1-0 count to Span. And the slider. Just right for strike one. Three hits and an error surrendered so far as Sale struggles to find that second out. Span down the line, pops up, and the out made over at third by Gillespie. So good heads-up play there on the pop-up. Look at it again on replay. Could have just landed softly on the ground, but Gillespie, understanding how important it is that Sale does not throw another pitch to the batter, was able to get the out. That's actually the second time the Span has popped up, so he's going to have to be a little more careful with these swings moving forward. And it'll cost his team outs. Here's Rendon again. He'll take a ball on the fastball. We'll see if that second out off the pop-up to Gillespie will be of any relief to Sale. He's given up 3 runs to these Washington Nationals. And it's no surprise that the Nationals are doing something like this. They're definitely one of the top teams in the National League. Just so wide open in the NL. When you think about favorites, you do think Washington. Slider runs the count to 2 balls and 1 strike. Runners on the corner. That's Strasburg at first. And that's Espinoza at third. Two balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs, 2 men on base. And the Nationals up by 2. Sale gonna look to put Rendon away. Hits this one down the line, called foul. Took a minute, but the umpire finally calls it, so we'll have another 2-2 count. Sale looking to close it out again. Rendon looking to keep it going. We'll have at least one more pitch here as the count runs full. National fans excited. They want more runs. They want some insurance here for their Nats. Runners going. Rendon fouling off. 3 balls and 2 strikes for a second time. If Rendon can reach, Jason Worth is next. Swung on and missed, and there's Sale's first strikeout of the game. You can make that a good old-fashioned K as he strikes out swinging. 3 runs given up. We'll see if the White Sox can start chipping back. It's 3-1 in favor of the home team. And now here we are as we get to the pitcher in the lineup for the White Sox, Chris Sale. This is his first time at the plate since 2012. See if he's rusty or not. First pitch from Strasburg, who himself brought in a run. It's a ball. Two-seamer right in there. A better hitter probably would have swung on that. 1 ball and 1 strike here, Chris Sale. And that one jams him up and will carry over into the crowd. And that 4-seamer on the inside. And that is strikeout number 2 for Steven Strasburg. He ended the last inning with the strikeout on Tyler Flowers. So after a rough but relatively tame inning compared to Chris Sale, where he gave up a run, Strasburg has been dealing. Eaton shows bunt, fouls it back, strike 1. Eaton reaches on this one. That will carry to his own dugout, strike 2. Eaton running with the green light. But the curveball drops just by his foot. His left foot standing there in the left-handed batting box. 1 ball and 2 strikes. Here's the delivery. Eaton reaches on that one, and that one will go opposite field. And he's on with a single with 1 out here in the top of the 3rd. You got to admire the diving catch there by Rendon, but to no avail, as the diminutive center fielder is on with a base hit. Here's Alexei Ramirez. He came on with a double, and he eventually made his way home thanks to Jose Abreu back in the 1st inning. Can he make some magic happen again? Eaton going for it, and he is already halfway there by the time the throw gets out of Ramos's glove. That's a stolen base. Look at this. He had a very good jump, but that is something to expect from a player as speedy as Adam Eaton. Four-seamer outside to Alexei. 1 ball, 1 strike. Ramirez, 10 home runs, 50 RBIs, and you would think that'd be an amazing season for any team, but he's being upstaged by the batter that comes after him, Jose Abreu. Pickoff attempt at second, and what looked like a close call. 1 ball, 2 strikes, 1 out, and a man on second to Alexei Ramirez. Reach on that one, that'll foul off, stay alive. Another pickoff attempt. And Eaton had to leg it out there. He has a very good lead from second, as if he's looking to steal 3rd. Trying to get a triple the hard way. Ramirez, meantime, takes a slider. Another pitch taken, breaking ball outside. 3 balls, 2 strikes, and Jose Abreu due up next. I will say this now, full editorial disclosure, this is more runs than I already expected heading into the top of the 3rd from either of these teams. 3-1 right now, Washington leading. Ramirez hits this one high in the air to right field, and the out is made in right by Jason Worth. So 2 out, and Eaton still waiting on second. And here is Jose Abreu. RBI single back in the 1st inning. Leave the first pitch alone, a change up low for a ball. Jose Abreu, 83 RBIs, 31 home runs. You better believe they gave him an invite to the home run derby. However, he turned it down. So take the two-seamer, a hit, 2 balls, no strikes. That's right, he turned down the invitation to the home run derby at the All-Star game in Minneapolis because he was worried about his swing. Didn't want to change anything up. Didn't want to hurt his arm. So he politely declined. So he did not want to be in it if he didn't have to. And he did not have to, but the American League did come out with the victory in the home run derby. So all's well that ends well as Abreu fouls off the 2-1. Strasburg back in business. Ties the count up 2-2 with 2 out and a man on second. Change up, runs it full though. Payoff pitch going to be huge. Can the White Sox keep it going in the top of the 3rd as that one fouls off? Abreu keeps it alive, but for how much longer? 3-2 in the dirt. And that's for how much longer as he will take a walk. So we now have Adam Eaton on second, and we have Jose Abreu on first, and Steven Strasburg just not happy with himself. He has 2 outs, though, including a strikeout to start things off. It's going to be important to close things out here. Viciedo up to the plate, taking on Strasburg, swings on the first pitch. That one is foul. Viciedo is the go-ahead run, standing there at home plate. Abreu is the tying run, standing at first. Oh, and that one, a good change-up by Strasburg, pulls the string on Viciedo. Viciedo is behind, no balls, and 2 strikes. Four-seamer in there, leaves Diane looking. That's the second time that's happened in this inning. Bookending strikeouts looking for the White Sox. And now the Nationals. Jason Worth was on the verge of stepping up to the plate in the big second inning for the Nationals, but alas, Rendon struck out. So now it's Worth's turn to do damage here to lead off the 3rd. Four-seamer just a bit high for ball 1. Both 3-6 matchups for the Coliseum baseball tournament going to happen today on trade deadline Thursday. This is the first one here. Of course, the White Sox and the Nationals. This will be followed by the Twins and Dodgers shortly after the completion of this game. Another fastball too high for Worth. 3 pitches, 3 balls. Let's look at Adam LaRoche. He's coming up next. Ready to do. Rio to Worth. Four-seamer high, outside, but in there for strike 1. Can Sale work his way back from a 3-0 count? Here's the 3-1, the delivery. Fouled off, and he does. The count now full. The payoff pitch outside, and that's the second walk by Chris Sale, and it will lead off the 3rd inning. Here's Adam LaRoche. As I said before, he singled. And upon that single, he led off the second with it. He eventually came home The first of 3 runs scored by the Nationals in the second inning. Gonna look to put some more on. It's Sale versus LaRoche. None out, but 1 on. The changeup is in there for ball 1. Adam LaRoche in the heart of the lineup here of double-digit home runs. So the power is very much balanced for Washington. You got Rendon with 13. You got Jason Worth with 12. You got Adam LaRoche with 13. Desmond's due up next. He has 17 that leads the team. And LaRoche hits this one over Abreu into right field. Worth will advance to second, and LaRoche is on with another single. Shaping up to be a hot day in D.C. and a hot day for Adam LaRoche. Take a look at it again, right down the line, good pull. Just past the glove of Abreu. He's not happy with it, but there's kind of nothing he can do once it rockets past him. So here's Ian Desmond, who flew out back in the second. That was the first out of that inning. But he's going to look to keep things going, as he has 2 men on, one of them, Jason Worth, in scoring position, and no one out. So house money here for the leading home run hitter on the Nats. First pitch, swing and a miss. We're officially already has 60 pitches. Definitely bad news. The White Sox bullpen has not been one of the more reliable ones in Major League Baseball. 4-seamer high. 1 ball, 1 strike. That one is foul. And Desmond reaches, so Sale gets his first out by striking out Desmond. Take a look at it on Show Track. Able to vary the locations very well with these pitches. He went outside, he went inside, he went low, he went high. Just those 4 pitches, he was able to put Desmond away. So here's Bryce Harper. He walked his last time up. And he's dealing with 2 teammates on base with a man out. 2-seamer, breaks just a teeny bit, goes outside. That is the 64th pitch by Chris Sale. Check swing. And the third base umpire says Harper did not go. That works in his favor. It's now 1 ball and 1 strike. Fouls off the 1-1. And he'll hit this one into play. Rounded up by Beckham. 4-6-3. And that's an inning-ending double play that Bryce just grounded into. Rally squelched by the White Sox defense. Quick hands. Keep it at 3-1 in favor of Washington.
Leading off for the White Sox, third baseman, Coliseum.
Welcome back to Chicago. Already through the first third of the game. Here's Connor Gillespie. Born in Omaha, Nebraska, much like yours truly, but eventually moved. Gillespie stayed home, went to Millard North High School, and played collegiately at Wichita State. He'll take a 4-seamer, 2 balls, no strikes. Originally a product of the Giants system, picked in the first round by those Giants. there for 5 seasons before coming here via trade in 2013, just before spring training. He has had a pretty good season, 323 batting average in 82 games. 4 home runs and 38 RBIs. He's going to look to get on the board here, get the White Sox back into it. They got a run in the first, and then the pitching to Chris Sale kind of tailed off a bit there in the second. That puts them behind the 8 ball. They're down 3-1. This one hit down the line. Full count here to Gillespie. Just starting the top of the 4th, nobody on, as this one is just foul. So Gillespie, it's another one opposite field, but just down the line. Can he fix his aim, or will Strasburg sit him down? He won't. He will give Gillespie the base. Pitch too low, and we'll have a leadoff walk for the second. Here comes Gordon Beckham up to the plate. 0 for 1 so far today, grounded out to his rival second baseman. First pitch Beckham sees, he will drop into right center field. So it'll be just good enough to get him on first and move Gillespie only 90 feet. But it's 2 hits here in the top of the 4th. The White Sox look to turn this into something. There's Alejandro Diaz. He flew out to his defensive rival over in right, or last time up. Curveball in there for strike 1. Winner of this game, as we're halfway through the first round, the winner of this game will move on to take on the Milwaukee Brewers, who won at home in walk-off fashion in the 2-7 matchup. The loser of that game, the Marlins, will face the loser of this game. Excuse me, swing there by Diaza, but good enough to get him on. So Diaza with the quick feet here. And let's look at this again. Okay, he was showing bunt. First I thought his swing just didn't come around well enough, but he gets on with a bunt single, so it was by design. I'm sure he would have just been happy with advancing Gillespie and Beckham, but hey, he's going to join him. And now the bases are loaded with none out for Tyler Flowers. And this one hit down the line. If it is of any consolation here to Strasburg, he is now taking on a 244 hitter in Flowers, and then a pitcher who until today has not hit in 2 years. We'll see if Strasburg can turn those into outs, but the White Sox may be able to strike. Oh, the iron is hot. They got a 3-hit rally going. Haven't turned it into runs yet. As the pitch is outside. 1 ball and 2 strikes to Tyler Flowers. Tyler Flowers from Georgia, went to college, a small one in Florida, and was picked in the 33rd round back in 2005. Picked up by the Braves. He was traded to the White Sox 3 years later, so it's been a long time coming for Flowers. 2 balls and 2 strikes. His job was in jeopardy last year at the hands of Josh Phegley, who got off to a really hot start in the first few games, but he went on to tail off. So does Flowers as he strikes out swinging. That'll be out number 1. That's K number 4 for Steven Strasburg, and the second K of the forward variety. So once again, we come down to Sale. He did what you would expect a pitcher to do that hasn't swung a bat in 2 years, and he struck out. See if Strasburg can sit him down again, pick up 2 outs after giving up 3 consecutive hits. Fastball sails up and in for ball 1. Jammed on it and just missed on the timing anyways. 1 ball, 1 strike. And this one popped up into the air. Should be playable for Harper, and he lands. The ball lands in the glove just in time. That one almost blooped there into left field. Would have been trouble. But at the same time, Harper, from that position, as you can see on replay, if it dropped, he probably would have had time to throw home. So he still could have prevented the out if he had dropped the ball. He did not, though. That's 2 outs here as we head back to the top of the lineup. Adam Eaton singled his last time up, and when he got on base, he stole it. So we'll see if he can keep the bat going. He's now in a tough position with 2 outs and the bases loaded. You got to believe his heart is pumping. That one in the dirt. Pitch is wild, but not wild enough. Everybody stays. 1 ball, 1 strike, bases loaded. White Sox trying to chip into this 2-run deficit they found themselves in since the bottom of the 2nd. Adam Eaton, part of a 3-team trade. The end of last season, takes a 2-seam fastball. It's actually quite interesting. Adam Eaton, everybody could tell, was up and coming in the Diamondback system, and yet the Diamondbacks had no qualms with giving him up to the White Sox. He hits this one right into center field and lines out to Denard Span. 3 runners left on base for the White Sox, and going to be kicking himself. They're still down 2, heading into the bottom of the 4th. Raymond Sims here from the nation's capital. So glad that you could join me. Nats got 3 runs in the 2nd, and were able to get out of the bases loaded jam in the last half inning. So we'll see if they can get some insurance. Here is Wilson Ramos. Slider drops in there for strike 1. I promise you, if I could rule the R's, I most definitely would on Wilson Ramos' name. The Venezuelan, signed as an international free agent with the Twins back in 2004. Hits this one, looking to line foul, and it does. In there just enough to be somebody's souvenir. Took him 6 years before he saw the show, and was traded mid-season to the Nationals, where he is today. This one hit down the line, and it's fair. Viciedo going to have to put some pep in his step, and he does, to keep it at a single. Leadoff single here for Wilson Ramos, his 2nd hit and his 2nd single of the game. Take a look at it again here, went just down the line. I'm sure Viciedo might have thought that was on the verge of rolling foul. He almost would have been in trouble for that if he didn't start hustling once he saw the 3rd base ump and say that it was fair. So a man on and none out for Danny Espinosa. Last position player before Strasburg. Sale learned that's not even an easy out. That one gets past the pitcher, a wild pitch, and Ramos will advance to second. So Sale throws a pitch that sails past Flowers' head. And Sale had to go get it himself. So 0-2 count, and they're actually going to count it as a pass ball. I thought that one was too high for Flowers to go for. But all the same, 1 ball and 2 strikes. And the 1-2. They run the count to 2 balls and 2 strikes. Espinoza, another homegrown talent for the Nationals. And that homegrown talent will take a strike looking and make his way back to the dugout. There's out number 1. So Sale, throwing a bit of a wild pitch, recovers nicely. And there it is on show track, right there in the zone on the inside. Honestly, there's nothing Espinoza could do about it. Except for possibly foul it off. You gotta hate those situations if you're a hitter. Bottom of the 4th here, already have some bullpen action as the pitches are starting to run up for Chris Sale. He's at the mid-70s right now. But that rough second inning really did him in with the pitch count. Probably still has another inning or 2 in him if he can recover here against Strasburg. Strasburg puts this one in play, high into right field and caught. But that is far enough for Ramos to tag up, and he will reach third. So a fly out by Strasburg, but still able to advance the runner, so Strasburg does not have to hang his head. Definitely contributing like a true NL pitcher. Here's Denard Span. Slider outside for strike one. And it is interesting to think about how AL teams coming into NL parks will be affected by the change in rules. 0-1 by Span, this one high in the center field, and Eaton is under it, so I'll hold that thought until the next half inning. But something I'll definitely explore. Nationals get a hit out of it, but they're still only up 3-1. Good game so far here from Washington, D.C. Glad that you could join me. I'm Raymond Sims for Game 3 out of the Eastern region between the White Sox and the Nationals. Alexei Ramirez will start things off here in the 5th. A couple of offensive outbursts by either team. The White Sox got a run in the 1st, and the Nationals got 3 runs in the 2nd. But since then, nothing much more, as both Steven Strasburg and Chris Sale have been able to settle down. 1 ball, no strikes to Alexei Ramirez, the All-Star. 4-seamer low and inside. I'm mentioning all the All-Stars in this game, and you got to be surprised at the fact that there aren't a lot of Nationals that were All-Stars. You had Anthony Rendon as a final vote candidate, but definitely All-Star worthy. Jason Worth having a heck of a year, All-Star worthy, as well as Ian Desmond. And then you have Jordan Zimmerman, who did actually make the All-Star game, but had to be replaced by Henderson Alvarez. Third ball outside, 3 balls, 1 strike. There's a look at Jose Abreu. He's going to look to contribute with his bat, and his number is called. 3-1 here to Ramirez. And the slider will be a ball, and Ramirez will take his base. He's on base for the 2nd time today. Then he hit a double back in the 1st. And so here is Jose Abreu, a walk and a single, RBI single, that did bring Ramirez home. Curveball, outer half, ball one. As I was about to begin my point with 2 outs back in the bottom of the fourth, it's a fact that it'll be interesting to see how the AL manages in NL parks. Ramirez going for the stolen base here. Looks like he might have it. He's in there. Just like Eaton back in the 3rd inning, Ramirez just had an amazing jump on the ball. So Ramirez will now move himself into scoring position. We'll see how much easier that is for Abreu to bring him home. Second stolen base by the White Sox. Conventional wisdom will tell you that when an NL team goes to AL park, they get an additional bat, so it's not so bad for them. But for AL teams going to NL parks, you sometimes have pitchers that do not have experience batting, so you're essentially going 8 to 9. That is by no means unfair. That's not what I'm suggesting at all. Definitely just a part of the game, but it is something to think about. 4-seamer in there, 3 balls, 1 strike. At the same time, this isn't the first time in baseball that this has happened, and many an AL team have had no problem going into NL parks and handling business. But we'll see moving forward how much of an effect that has on individual teams. Abreu has no problem popping this one up into the air. Should be good for Span against the back of the wall. It will be, but Ramirez will be able to tag up to 3rd. So a lot of power shown there by Abreu, but this is a big park, National Park. And it drops right into the glove of Denard Span for out number 1. Alexei Ramirez, as we see though, very smart to steal that base, as that is able to put him now 90 feet away with 1 out for Diane Viciedo. Viciedo reached base on an error back in the 1st, and then struck out looking back in the 3rd. And this one drops in the dirt. But once again, the pitch not wild enough for any movement. We saw that happen with the bases loaded back in the 4th for Strasburg, so you wonder if energy has anything to do with that. 4-seamer in there, 1 ball, 1 strike. Look at Matt Williams. He's managed this team very well this season. They're currently 1st in the National League East. And when you look at the NL East and what it has to offer, the Nationals might be on track to get that playoff pick. This one popped up in the air. Span under it again. And this time it might bring Ramirez home. He's making a run for it as this one drops into the glove of Ramos offline down the 3rd base side. It is now 3-2 off the sacrifice fly by Diane Viciedo. So the White Sox, after leaving the bases loaded, all 3 runners stranded back in the previous inning, they are able to generate some offense out of this, but that is all they'll get, as a routine ground out will cap off the top of the 5th inning. White Sox score a run, but they're still down. Can the Nationals pull away even further? We'll find out. It's the Coliseum Baseball Tournament on the Coliseum Sports Network. Anthony Rendon here to lead off the bottom of the 5th inning for the Washington Nationals. Daniel Webb currently in the bullpen. As that pitch is inside on the 4-seamer. 1 ball, no strikes. A rough 2nd inning by Chris Sale has run up his pitch count. And Rendon lines this one out to Abreu for out number 1. "81 pitches, including that 38-pitch inning, as I said before, where he gave up 3 runs. But once you get past that, it's actually been a pretty decent game. Only 2 hits given up outside of that inning. Got to make sure you pitch all your innings well. This one past 2 different White Sox gloves. Abreu got past him, and then Beckham struggled. So Worth is on base. Probably a base hit, but I'm going to wait here for the score to make the official word. But in the meantime, Adam LaRoche, who's hit 2 singles, and is going to look to get the offense going. The Nationals trying to pull away here from the White Sox and advance to the winner's bracket against the Brewers. There's a base hit. That one not surprising to me as the ball goes in the dirt. Definitely understandable as opposed to some of the other calls the scorers made. Kind of confused me a bit, to be quite honest. 2-seamer inside, 1 ball, 1 strike. 1 out, 1 on, and a 1-run lead for the Nationals. And there goes Worth. He's on the run, sliding in, not in time. Caught stealing, that's out number 2. We saw both Adam Eaton and Alexei Ramirez get good jumps on the pitch, but Flowers, with his arm, was able to gun down Worth. I'm sure the fact that Sale's delivery out of the stretch might have had something to do with it. See if he can close out the inning here then to Adam LaRoche. Make this one essentially 3 up, 3 down. He has the 2-2 count with 2 outs, and the base is now clear. Kick and delivery. At 1 high. Waste pitch on the slider. There's a look at Ian Desmond, who will be up next, either if LaRoche is able to reach or to lead off the 6th. This one popped up high in the air, carrying, past the warning track and gone. A home run by Adam LaRoche to extend the lead back to 2 runs. Four to 2 now for the Nationals, and we saw this happen in the Cubs-Tigers game, where Emilio Bonifacio was caught stealing at 3rd, and Anthony Rizzo, who proceeded to hit a home run into right field, just like this one, had to run the bases alone. Cubs would go on to win that game, though. Nationals are now ahead 4 to 2. So here is Ian Desmond. He will not lead off the top of the 6th. We'll see if he can extend this lead here. I don't think. Would it be too greedy? I'll ask you guys, and you can let me know in the comments. Would it be too greedy to hope for a 2nd consecutive home run? Consecutive home runs with each one, definitely more fun than the next. Nope, looks like this will be a routine ground out 4-3, and the inning is over. But Sale gives up a home run, and the White Sox are back down by 2 heading into the top of the 6th inning. It's Coliseum Baseball Tournament on the Coliseum Sports Network. Here's a look at Gordon Beckham coming up to the plate. Had trouble rounding up a ball that allowed Worth to get on base. Back in the bottom of the 5th. Has to move out of the way on the 4-seamer on the first pitch. 1 ball, no strike. Steven Strasburg has been holding his own at the mound. Only gave up 1 run back in the 1st inning. However, he is coming towards the end of his tenure. And this one carries and hooks foul, but is still caught by Bryce Harper. Amazing job by Bryce Harper to chase that one down. Had a beat on it all the way. You can definitely think of some fielders that would have given up on that ball and let it go foul. Not Bryce. He went for it, and he helps his team get out number 1. So here's Alejandro Diaza. And that one hits his foot, so he will take his base. He looks fine, so he should be able to walk on his own accord, but we'll see what happens here. I actually saw this, I forget the batter, but it was right at his feet. Didn't miss that time. So we've seen our share of control issues from Strasburg, but like I said, he's had a fantastic game, only giving up 1 run so far. Tyler Flowers up to the plate, last position player before Chris Sale. Curveball drops in there for ball 1. I want to get this story out of the way before we see the end of Strasburg, because we don't know how much further the Nationals will go or if we'll see Strasburg again. But of course, with all of the accolades that Strasburg has received and has deserved, you may also know him as a lean cuisine thief. If that curveball drops in, it will be strike 1. Not sure. I'm sure you have if you're a sports fan, but if you haven't, he's a part of a This Is Sports Center commercial, the acclaimed This Is Sports Center commercial series that's been running since '96. In a commercial, he throws a pickoff attempt to Diaz, to keep him honest, and it's an out. So he manages to get Diaz on out number 2 for out number 2. So he's not only a lean cuisine thief, but he is very sharp. So 1-1 pitch and the changeup, 1 ball, 2 strikes. And now I got to hurry with this. Bram Weinstein, ESPN personality, Sports Center anchor, was looking for a lean cuisine, and it turned out that Steven Strasburg had it hidden in his tape the whole time. 1 ball, 2 strikes on the 4-seam. Glazed turkey tenderloin, I believe, is the flavor. And Graham walked out of the lunchroom, fuming, ready to write a tense, strongly worded email. Strasburg simply microwaved the meal, and he gives up a hit here to Tyler Flowers, who will now occupy first base after Diaz was caught on the pickoff attempt. Very, very soft dribbler there down the third base line. And in the pitching spot, here is the catcher, Adrian Nieto. So 1 catcher after the other, and Chris Sale's day is clearly done. So Nieto gets a good hit here, rounded up by Espinoza, and he can't pick it up. So everybody's safe. Flowers advancing to second. Nieto is on. See if that's an E4 or if that is a base hit. Now back to our regularly scheduled lineup. Here's Adam Eaton, as the White Sox manage to keep the top of the 6th going. It is a pinch hit, base hit by Adrian Nieto. This one popped up in the air. Span should be under it. All the runners still going. Span has no problem at all. So after 2 hits, the White Sox once again come up empty-handed. It is still 4-2 heading into the bottom of the 6th. Daniel Webb's been in the bullpen for a little bit, and now it is his time to shine. He's going to look to hold down the fort here for however long to see if the White Sox can get back into it. But the Nationals probably have other plans. So they'll look to extend their 4-2 lead. Bryce Harper leading off the inning. Fouls this one off. Swing and a miss for Harper on the 4-seamer. So Webb coming in, throwing a little bit of heat there. Take a change up inside. 1 ball, 2 strikes to Bryce Harper. Ooh, 1-2. Fastball high in, and Harper had to move out of the way. 2 balls and 2 strikes. So Sale, counting that rough second inning where he gave up 3 runs, gave up 4 hits, or 4 runs on 7 hits as Harper fouls this one off. In 5 innings of work. Another 2-2. Harper sails this one into right field. Going for it at the warning track is De Aza, and he's able to chase it down for out number 1. As the coming down, you see the shadows over there in right field. Might be getting a little bit more difficult for De Aza to chase down these fly balls. But he had a beat on that one. And it's 1 out here for Daniel Webb. First pitch to Wilson Ramos, a strike on the fastball. Ooh, huge swing and a miss as Ramos reaches. Ramos in the hole. No balls, 2 strikes. Swing and a miss for Ramos. He goes down swinging. That's strikeout number 1 for Daniel Webb. 2 up and 2 down so far. Getting Harper to fly out and Ramos to go down on strikes. And here's Danny Espinoza, who struck out looking against Chris Sale in his last time up. That was 1 of 3 strikeouts in the game for Chris Sale. First pitch is inside, and Espinoza had to move out of the way. 1 ball, no strikes. If Strasburg will come back up to bat, or if Strasburg's day is done, he's had a markedly better day than Chris Sale, to say the least. He's only given up 2 runs so far. Espinoza lays down the bunt. Webb gets it to first in time, and that's a 3 up, 3 down inning. Business holds down the 4th and the 6th. We'll see what the White Sox can do in the top of the 7th. Welcome back to beautiful Nationals Park in the nation's capital. Here's a look at the game. 6 innings of work with 4 strikeouts for Steven Strasburg. Alexei Ramirez coming up to the plate. Looks like Strasburg is still going to be in the game for at least a little longer. Just long enough for Tyler Clippard to get ready. He's currently in the bullpen. First pitch to Ramirez. A fastball for strike 1. Matt Williams has not had to do a lot of sweating in this game. Strasburg has lived up to the hype, as he usually has. Swing and a miss, though, by Ramirez. Had them all disjointed. No balls, 2 strikes. Strasburg, for however much longer he'll be in this game, looking to go out with a bang and send Washington into that winner's bracket matchup against Milwaukee. Ramirez pops this one up in the air. Should be playable for Espinoza. He's waiting for it, and he's got it for out number 1. Here's a look at the pitching distribution. 100 pitches even, so the percentages work out pretty well, just in case you're not a math major. Strasburg, for the 4th time today, taking on the ever-mighty Jose Abreu. He will win out as Jose Abreu goes down on the first pitch, essentially lining out to left for out number 2. Only needed 1 pitch to take down one of the fiercest hitters in baseball. He's out at 101 pitches. See if he only needs pitch 102 for Viciedo, or if Diane will give him a little more run. Base is empty. Will it carry? It will, into the glove of Span, that is. 3 up, 3 down. And we'll see if that's the last of Strasburg. He's due up in the bottom of the 7th. Stretch, people. It's Coliseum baseball.
Your attention, please. Pinch hitting for the pitcher is Strasburg, number 15.
So, yes, indeed, it does look like the day will be done for Steven Strasburg as pinch hitter Nate McLeod will come into the game to start off the bottom of the 7th. Daniel Webb still up at the mound. See how much longer the White Sox need him. For a lot of the season, the bullpen has been a very sore spot for the White Sox. A lot of blown leads. A lot of tough performances in a short amount of innings for each of these relief pitchers. But the White Sox are sticking by their guys, at least for the most part. Just going to have to wade through the season, wait for the prospects to develop at the minor level. 1 ball and 1 strike here for Daniel Webb. Fastball outside. That one hitting 97 miles per hour.
Wait for the pitch.
2 balls and 1 strike here for Daniel Webb in the bottom of the 7th. Pitch on the changeup in there. 2 balls and 2 strikes. If Washington can hang on to win, they will take on Milwaukee in Milwaukee. That game has actually an 8:05 Eastern start on August the 8th. Check swing, and the third base umpire says he went around. There's another strikeout for Daniel Webb. So McLeod unable to contribute. Unlike Adrian Nieto, who hit a single back in his pinch hitting position in the last inning. Here's Denard Span to restart the lineup once again. First pitch to him, a 2-seamer for strike 1. Oh, 0-1 by Span, or 0-1-2 Span is taken. The loser of this game will host Miami. This one's hit down the line. Span hits a good liner, and it should be good enough for extra bases as he is into second standing up. So a 1-out double by Denard Span. And we'll see if that will jumpstart the offense once again for the Nationals. They're trying to get some insurance runs to get the W at home. Take a look at this on show motion. Span is able to hit this one oppo. Get him 2 bases. We'll see if what Anthony Rendon can do. He lined out to first when he led off the 5th inning. As I was saying before, the loser of this game will host Miami, the 7th seed, on August 6th. That time to be determined due to the fact that we don't know which time zone this game will be held in. We also don't know which time, how that will affect the team in the West in the 3-6 matchup. We don't know which time zone that'll be in, because that will either be in Minneapolis or in Los Angeles. But we'll be sure to find that out after the completion of this game, the Twins and the Dodgers from legendary Dodger Stadium. Pick-off attempt. Span at second. Keeps him honest there. 1-0 count to Rendon. Itching for his first base hit of the game. Now would be a good time for it. He grounded out, he struck out, and he's lined out. You know he wants to put ball to bat. Here's the 1-1 inside. Wise to take. 2 balls, 1 strike. Anthony Rendon, a Texas kid, born in Houston, went to high school in Arlington and Houston, played collegiately at Rice. So Texas all around. Is a pickoff attempt to span for the second time. It was safe. 2-1. Rendon. 3 balls and 1 strike. So after 2 strikeouts, 1 back in the 6th and 1 to lead off the 7th, Webb having a little bit of trouble to close out here as he will give up the walk. So Rendon on first and Span on second. Here is Jason Worth. He singled himself back in the 5th his last time up. Got a little too overzealous with the lead off the base in the 5th. He was caught stealing. Just couldn't leg it out. Like the 2 White Sox before him. If it's any consolation though to Nationals fans, a White Sox would be called out on a pickoff attempt. And here's Worth. Hitting the fair ball, rounded up by Beckham. And there is out number 2, but it will advance both Span and Rendon 90 feet. So 2 runners in scoring position off the 4-3 ground out. So even when he's not on base, Jason Worth contributing to his team. And here's Adam LaRoche. He hit a home run back in the 5th inning. We'll see if he can show any more power. Sure, the crowd would love it. Well, they would, but looks like Webb and Adam LaRoche. Smart thing to do, but much to the chagrin of Washington Nationals fans. So bases loaded off the intentional walk, and here comes Ian Desmond, who was 0 for 3 today. Other than Tahura taking that into account on the intentional walk. But Desmond could play spoiler and hold in that theory. If he can get a base hit and bring at least a run in against Daniel Webb. Swing and a miss on the changeup. Webb has been able to pull out 2 outs here. But he has allowed the bases to go full. At least with LaRoche on the back end, that was intentional. But he is in trouble. A huge jam. Would be interesting if he could get out of it. It would definitely be a good sign for the White Sox bullpen as they develop here in the home stretch of the season. 0-2 count off the 2 foul balls. 4-seamer, a waste pitch inside. Nationals fans on their feet, hoping Desmond can put this one in play. And Desmond hits this one to Ramirez. Just needs to force play at second. And the intentional walk works out. Daniel Webb gets out of the jam. And the White Sox prevent any more runs from coming on. So we head into the top of the 8th. 4-2 is the Coliseum Baseball Tournament on the Coliseum Sports Network. Steven Strasburg's day is done, as evidenced by McLeod coming in as a pinch hitter in his spot. It will be Tyler Clippert, the setup man, coming in to take care of business and hopefully polish off a Nationals W. At least hopefully in the eyes of Nats fans. Here's Connor Gillespie leading off. He hit into a ground out to third his last time up. Swing and a miss. Swing and a miss, and Tyler Clippard comes in, wasting no time as he gets out number 1. Here's a look at the starters comparison as both of them are now done with their day. Looks about even, but it seems that Sale had the most damage done to him. I will say that in my research for this game, as Gordon Beckham comes up to the plate, I figured this would be a 2-1 game, and it looks like both the Nats and White Sox decided to double that, even against 2 of the game's most intense pitchers. 4-seamer inside by Clippard. That's the first ball he's thrown. Cutter outside. 2 balls, 1 strike. This one fouled off by Becker. Two balls and 2 strikes, 1 out, no one on here for Gordon Beckham. Hits this one into play past the glove of Desmond, and he's on with a base hit.
Now batting, right fielder, Alejandro Diaz.
Here's Alejandro Diaz stepping up to the plate. Change up in there to Diaz for strike 1. Look at the team hits today. Both have 8 this afternoon. The Nationals have been able to turn half of their hits into runs. 4-2 with 1 out and a man on first. Diaz will take the 4-seamer. That went in the zone on the inner half. Strike 2. Here's the 0-2. Change up outside. Ooh, that one looked like a close call, but all the same, a backwards K for Alejandro Diaz, and we are down to 2 outs as we take a look at the line score. It's been quite the game after 2 outbursts of scoring, if you want to call 1 run in the top of the first by the White Sox an outburst. And it's been a stalemate most of the way. The White Sox thought they made progress there. But eventually, the Nationals came back and extended their lead right back to 2 runs. So here's Tyler Flowers. First pitch to him was a strike. Tyler Clippard looking to close out the inning and leave another White Sox stranded on base. This one popped up in the air. Looks like an easy one for Span, and it is. So 4 up, but 3 down. That's all you need as we head into the bottom of the 8th. And we're going to have a double switch here. Robin Ventura making the necessary changes.
Your attention, please.
And we'll have Javi Guerra coming into the game.
Now pitching is batting in the 7th spot. Number 41, Javi Guerra. Now playing right field and batting in the 9th spot. Number 28,
And here comes Bryce Harper up to the plate in the 7th spot. First pitch, outside for ball 1. So to fill you in on that double switch, as you most likely heard over the PA system, Javi Guerra coming into the game. But moving forward, he will bat 7th if that ever comes to fruition. And in the next inning, instead of seeing the pitcher lead off, which in this case, again, is Guerra, we'll see Alejandro Diaz. So Ventura utilizing the double switch here, which the Nationals, oddly enough, the National League franchise, has not had to do. Javi Guerra has been one of those guys that's definitely had his good days and his bad days. As the second relief pitcher in the game, he's going to need to hold down the fort. Harper pops this one up into, of all places, left field. That is an easy out for Viciedo. There's Wilson Ramos up at the plate. He's had a pretty good day. He started off with 2 singles, but then he struck out in the 6th, so I'm sure he wants more 2nd and 4th inning production than he does 6th. This one fouled off. Trade deadline Thursday as the 0-2 comes in. Curveball outside. And so far, looking on my computer here, at least from my vantage point, I haven't seen any trades that have affected the Nationals and White Sox, but it does not mean that the wire is dead. There's a couple of big trades. But we'll be sure to discuss them in the intermission or the pregame show for the Twins and Dodgers, which will be after the completion of this game. Slider runs the count full, and Javi Guerra, after getting 1 out, is already in a jam. Three-two, a strike, and this one is heading into left field. You're so not catching that. Goodbye. A home run for Wilson Ramos. Here's another look on replay. You knew he was just going to tee off. You just knew he had 3-2 in his sights, and he's going to find a comfortable seat out in the outfield. And so that'll do it for Javi Guerra. Thanks for trying, but no dice. Here's Eric Surkamp into the game. Dealing with a little less pressure now that the lead has been extended. All he has to do is get 2 outs and close out the inning. Tape measure is in, 393 feet to left. And Wilson Ramos home run. If the tournament stats were to be tacked on to the regular season stats, Wilson Ramos would have 4 home runs, but it's not, so this is a whole new ball game here in this tournament. That means Wilson Ramos is tied with Adam LaRoche for 1 homer. 1-1 count here to Danny Espinoza. Like I said, after Adam LaRoche hit that home run, you wonder if they can go back-to-back. Really, anybody going back-to-back on home runs, I think, would be exciting enough for me. But Espinoza really just tasked with getting on base here, while Surkamp is just looking to get 2 outs. Espinoza chooses to bunt late. 2 balls and 2 strikes. That one inside would have been a ball. Espinoza, pretty much determined he was going to swing, was jammed up. So 2 balls and 2 strikes. Bottom of the 8th, 1 out, no one on. And the count full again. Wilson Ramos just a batter ago. Had to circle the bases by himself. We'll see what happens here. Full count. And a strike called. Surkamp starts off the inning with a K. So Clippert was just about to come out of the dugout. Matt Williams said, hang on there. Your day is done. So here is Scott Hairston coming into the game. First ball drops in the dirt for strike 1. So Surkamp strikes out Espinoza. He's now going to have to strike out the pinch hitter Hairston. Four-seamer in there, strike 1. Hairston, he of the Hairston baseball family. 1-1 count. Foul that one off. Scott's grandfather was Sam. His father was Jerry Hairston Sr., his brother, Jerry Hairston Jr. And Hairston hits this one into left field and hooks foul well enough to get into the stands. We actually saw Bryce Harper in that same spot getting out on a fly ball that hooked foul, but just not enough. Four-seamer well outside, runs the count 2-2. This one fouled off. Swung on and missed, and that's how we'll close out the inning. 2 straight strikeouts by Eric Surkamp. This may be very well the last offensive inning for the Nationals, and they go out with a bang off the Wilson Ramos home run. 5-2, heading into the top of the 9th. It's not Kier Sedgwick, but it's still the closer, Rafael Soriano. He's going to look to close out this half inning. The Nationals are ahead, so if Soriano does his job, then we'll all go home, and Washington will move on to a winner's bracket date with Milwaukee at Miller Park. First pitch to Alejandro De Aza is a strike. He was part of that double switch so that a pitcher didn't have to hit in this spot. Four-seamer inside, well inside for a ball. Diaz fouls that one off. One-two count to Alejandro Diaz, trying to make something out of the double switch. This one popped up high in the air for another foul ball. Here's the 1-2 again. Taken for ball 2. I will say this before we get off the air with game number 1. The Washington Nationals, as you know, started off as the Montreal Expos. So, if you want to take a rewind back to just 10 years ago, be sure to check out the Expos Retro Dynasty, which you can find on the Coliseum Sports Network Tuesdays. This one hit into right field, still carrying, but the out made easily by Jason Worth for out number 1. As I said earlier, Matt Williams has not had to budge much today. He's only had to call out a couple of pitchers. And Clippard and now Soriano. It's the White Sox that have had their back against the wall since the bottom of the second inning. And now they're running out of outs to make a run at it. Eaton fouls this one back. Cutter outside, 1 ball and 1 strike. Tomorrow, even looking past the rest of the today, we will wrap up first half action as the 4 and 5 matchups will have a doubleheader themselves. It'll be Pittsburgh, number 4, hosting Toronto out of the East, as this one's carrying to center field. Should be playable for Span. And in the Western region, number 4, San Francisco, taking on number 5, Seattle. Seattle made a couple of moves themselves, and we'll see how those pan out later on. So down to their last out are the White Sox, and here comes Alexei Ramirez taking on Rafael Soriano. And this one popped up in the air, still carrying the center field. Span's going for it at the warning track, and he's got the out. Had to chase it down, but the Nationals will get a big W, so go with the W on their cap. And as a side note, just wonderful range shown by Bernard Span the entire game. Anytime it went into center field, you could tell it was a sure thing. But nevertheless, Nationals come out with the win. Strasburg comes in strong, gets the W for his team, the W's. Sale will come out with the loss. Much to his chagrin, I'm sure Soriano will most likely be tasked with the save. So good game all around here for the Nationals. The White Sox will have to fight for their place in this tournament in a loser's bracket matchup against the Miami Marlins, but of any consolation, they do host that game on the south side on August 6th. You just saw the summary, so now we'll get a look at the top player of the game, and seems like almost a foregone conclusion after the game that he had. Adam LaRoche, 3 for 3 on the day with a home run. He would have wanted to bring in more RBIs, but that one was a major part as it kept the White Sox at bay. And here's a look at that hit right there as we put him in card view. As I said before, don't go anywhere. We got more baseball for you coming up from Los Angeles. Will be the Twins and the Dodgers to close out what should be a wonderful doubleheader here on Trade Deadline Thursday. But until next time, I'm Raymond Sims, thanking you for watching this game here from the nation's capital as the Nationals pull out the win behind Adam LaRoche's solo home run in 3 for 3 day against the White Sox 5-2. This has been a presentation of Sims Coliseum. Be sure to check out simscoliseum.com, both at that site and on Twitter and Facebook and Tumblr. But until then, have a wonderful day.